A chance meeting on a California highway 25 years ago forever altered the lives of two families. Pinned in her car after an accident, a young mother near death cried out for her 7-month-old daughter in the back seat. A Good Samaritan from Seattle came to the rescue. None of them knew that the events of that day would mean for them into the years to come and how their lives would lead them back to each other 25 years later. It's 1988, and a young woman from Seattle is on her way to Tahoe with a friend.
It was a gorgeous March day. We were driving up the pass, the Redding Pass, and just admiring how beautiful it was.
Behind them, a sports car carrying two men closes in and swerves past them.
As they passed us, we looked over to see them, and were absolutely in shock at how completely intoxicated they were.
The sports car disappears behind a curve, and as the women make their way around that same curve,
we saw the accident, and it was absolutely the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
The sports car hit a young mother from Stockton traveling to Portland to see her family with her 7-month-old baby.
I ran to the car, and when I reached the car window to look in at Roanna, I heard a little baby crying.
Afraid the car was about to burst into flames, Shelley reached in for the baby.
At that moment, Roanna, the mom, began to scream for her baby and scream for Nicole. And I went around to her window and I said, "Look at your baby, she's fine. Look at her." And Roanna would open her eyes and she'd see Nicole and it would calm her down.
Over the noise of the medical chopper, you can hear Roanna screaming. And Shelley, there in the back, holding baby Nicole.
I just prayed over her and I prayed over her mom because I did not know if her mom was going to make it. And I was trying to imagine what her life would be like without her mama.
Roanna felt her life draining away as she was loaded into the chopper, and Shelley followed the helicopter to the hospital with Nicole, holding her and comforting her until family could arrive. Doctors said the baby was fine. 2 days later, on her way back to Seattle, Shelley stopped by the hospital to check and got devastating news about the baby.
The baby's paralyzed from the waist down. I thought they had the wrong person. I thought maybe by removing her from her car seat that I made her injuries worse. And I left that hospital that day changed forever.
It's a question that went unanswered for 25 years until one day, while on the internet, she clicked on a video that came as part of an inspirational online subscription. The first thing that appeared on the screen was the name Nicole Farley.
At that moment, I absolutely stopped breathing. I could not believe it, and I froze.
What she saw was Nicole, the baby, all grown up, with her mother and family, a timeline of a beautiful life and a message of joy and faith. She saw Nicole water skiing and taking trips to other countries, buying a home, starting a business. And in one of the frames was an email address. Shelley reached out.
And I said a quick prayer and I just pushed send. And I waited, and there was a beautiful response from her. Gracious, loving, warm. It was everything that I ever hoped for.
And Nicole answered the question about her paralysis that haunted Shelley for more than 25 years.
One of the things that I really wanted to get across in my email was that she didn't have anything to do with it. The damage was already done, and doctors had said.
Nicole and Shelley agreed to meet in person this March.
I'm really excited. I'm not necessarily nervous, but I'm kind of anxious.
Nicole had other plans for a surprise reunion at her grandparents' home in Portland, where Shelley had agreed to meet me for an interview.
I think it was some divine intervention that my video landed in her inbox.
She's amazing. Mm-hmm. She is an inspiration.
I want you to turn around.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my word. Oh.
Mom to mom. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing more than just holding my baby, but for taking care of her and for loving her and for praying for her. I know that love and that prayer helped protect her. And there are no words I could ever express to thank you enough.
Thank you.
25 years of questions answered, anxiety lifted, and finally, the chance to express gratitude and love.
Oh my goodness. For her to have a disability and pursue life with such passion and vigor, and to see her doing things, she's done more things than I've ever done in my life. Nothing is impossible for that girl.
I feel like it's an absolute fairy tale, that this is the kind of thing that only Hollywood writes. So it's kind of crazy. I feel like I'm living a movie.
Well, Shelley, Nicole, and Roanna and their families spent most of the weekend catching up in Portland and are committed to staying in touch. All of the women say their lives would be much different if they had given in to bitterness and allowed that accident to steal their joy and their faith.
Oh, just count the miracles in that story.
Oh.
I mean, what are the chances that that video would end up in Shelley's inbox and she would see after 25 years that Nicole is fine and has this beautiful life, and that she didn't cause those injuries?
It was so random because it came as part of an online subscription that Nicole had never even heard of, and she had uploaded it separately, so it really was quite random. But, you know, just I have to say, being in that room for those people, and I know you've met people like this, and you've met people like this that are so filled with positivity, you just kind of sit back and you bask in it. I mean, there was so much positivity going on in that room, and people who are so joyful in their lives and so grateful in their lives. It was something to see.
Well, I got to say, and that's one of the fun things about being in this business, when you can tell a story that conveys that positivity and is so inspiring, and that story did a great job with it and made us all feel in a way like we were there and shared in that.
Well, they're watching now, so thank you for allowing us to share your story.
Great story.